Hey everybody, Alex from SeemsGoodMagic.com here, and we are doing another Kaladesh draft league. I never do the preview pane, but people want them. People like the preview panes, so we'll do it this time. Alright, if you like the content, please subscribe to the channel and like the videos. And check me out on Twitch, twitch.tv/Inez27. Alright, so we have Essence Extraction. We have a Thriving Rhino, Propeller Pioneer, and I think those are the three first picks I'm looking at. I'm pretty sold on the Essence Extraction. It's pretty heavy black though, but it's good removal. Gain life, kill something. It's definitely what you want to be doing. So I think I take it over the Rhino, but these are both like archetypal cards, whereas Essence Extraction is just a removal spell if you're in black. So it's still going to be tough to know when to take Synergy versus when to take just a card that's good on its own. So we have the Operative in black, but I think I'm going to be looking at this Snare Thopter. I think there's also a Ballista Charger in here, which is pretty good too. And there's the Prophetic Prism, which I seem to never take. But I think we're just going to take this Snare Thopter. I know it's a good card. It's colorless. Hasty Flying, very good. So we'll take it. All right. So options now. We have Foundry Screecher, which I like. We have this Oval Chase Daredevil, which doesn't go away. If you have enough artifacts, that is. I like the Foundry Screecher flies. I'm kind of attracted to that. Synergizes well with the Snare Thopter. Play the Screecher, play the Thopter, attack for 6 in the air. It's kind of good. I've played against the Daredevil. I do actually think it's a good card. It's hard to get rid of. But I'm a little more tempted to take the Evasive Flyer here. A lot of good black cards for sure. Like I said, I'm impressed. I have been impressed with the Daredevil, but I'm just not 100% sure how good it is in the format just yet. Like it's a difficult card to get rid of. I understand that, but I still think I value Evasion a little bit higher. Okay, so here's a good choice. We've got Sky Skiff, which I like a lot. There's a Virtuoso in here, which is obviously a good card, but if we go down that path, we're completely done with the Screecher and Essence Extraction, which I don't love, especially when there's an Underhanded Design, which is a card I've been pretty impressed with. I like it. It's a cool card. I think I value it higher than the Skiff and the Squad, just because it's not too difficult to get a couple artifacts to be able to activate it, and we already have an Artifacts Matters cards as well as an artifact, so I think I am going to take the Underhanded Design here. I like the card. So it looks as though we're going for an artifact strategy of some kind, and we're in black. So there are some options we can do here. Here's a black-white card, Cabal, which is pretty good. A fairly late Revoke Privileges. And there's this Decoction Module, which doesn't look great in our deck yet, but energy cards are certainly something we could be thinking about. Trying to think of the energy cards in black. There's Die Young. There has to be a couple others, but I guess Decoction Module works well alongside Die Young. It powers it up a little bit. Works well with our Underhanded Design. If I take the Revoke Privileges 5th pick, I just basically get a removal spell in white. Like, if I was going to play black-white anyway, I'd rather have a Revoke Privileges than a Cabal. There's also Puzzle Knot. I mean, there's a couple other black cards in here, but I'm going to take the Privileges. We'll see if that's a sign. Maybe people weren't in white. I'm not sure yet. So, no good black card in here. We have Eddy Trailhawk, which is a fine card. Consulate Surveillance, which that's a tough card to have a deck for. I'm not exactly sure where that's supposed to be. I'm fine taking the Hawk. It's another flyer. I like having a fleet of evasion. and it makes any of your ground guys be able to fly too. So the Hawk is pretty good. I'm okay taking it here. I think we will over some. The Era of Innovation is actually a strong card, but I'll take the Hawk over it. Okay, so now we have. I think I'm going to take the Sky Skiff here. I really like this card a lot. Works with what we're trying to do as well. I'm going to take it over Servo Exhibition, despite the fact that Exhibition has fantastic synergy with Underhanded Design. There's also Eager Construct, but I just really come to appreciate and like the Skiff a lot. It's good offensively, it's good defensively. It comes at with a good price tag, and adds to our awesome deck of just pure flyers, which is just great. Okay. So I guess we could take Inspired Charge. If you have a bunch of flyers, you can just get lethal quickly. Nothing else besides the Inspired Charge that's really, well, the late appetite for the Unnatural, which is main decked quite often. But we'll take the Inspired Charge. All right, so now we have Puzzle Knot, which works well with our design. It also synergizes with our Foundry Screecher. And it's decent with our Inspired Charge, so that might just be the pick. Herald of the Fair, fine card too, but we've got some Artifact Matters cards already, so why not use them? Especially since the Puzzle Knot just immediately turns on It's actually a fantastic card with Underhanded Design. You play it, you get to trigger that effect twice, and then totally you get to trigger it 3 times over the course of the Puzzle Knot abilities, which is just cool. So I don't like this Girapur Orrery. It just gives advantages to other players, which I'm not a big fan of. I don't think we're going to need a second Inspired Charge. Pretty seldom do I play 2. Assistant doesn't look great right now, but I'll take it. If you end up with some bomby artifact that you want to bring back, like a Gear Hulk or something, maybe something else too. It's nice to have it on the ground blocking and bringing back things, like a Snare Thopter or a Sky Skiff, for example. I don't really need any of these cards, and at this point I'm fairly confident we're black-white, just because we have some good options in both colors. We've got hard removal in both colors, and we've got this sort of evasive flying threat thing going on. I think I might just pass all these cards for people and sort of just let them know we're not in blue, red. We took the land before those 3 colors. So this is supposed to be sort of an indicator to the person I'm passing to that, hey, feel free to jump right into these colors, my friends, because I am having nothing to do with it. Well, as luck would have it, we opened an on-color rare that's a very good card. Trinketeer is really good, and I really like it with Underhanded Design, too. Just 5 mana, spit out a 1/1, drain your opponent. Not bad. Not bad at all. Plus, we're going to need some more actual servo creators. I guess we do have the Puzzle Knot, though, right? Yeah, make servos. Not much else, though, but there is a lot in black and white that's going to make servos, so happy to take the Trinketeer here, which is just a very strong rare. Passing Die Young, Privileges, Built to Last, Impeccable Timing, a bunch of cards I would play. I've played against Fretwork Colony multiple times now, and I don't really like it that much. It's okay. It's not something I would be too happy to play most of the time. So here I think we take the Tidy Conclusion, the hard removal that synergizes well with our plan. There's another Sky Skiff in here which I would happily play, and the Mechanic, which I like too. Mechanic would be better in a deck with a lot of Enter the Battlefield abilities, which we really just basically have the Eddy Trailhawk right now. So, but like I said, there's a lot of cards in black and white that have Enter the Battlefield abilities, so it's not that you could still take the Mechanic and hope to find value later. But let's take the Conclusion. Very good removal. I like what it does a lot. Taking it. Oh, wow. So we get a Wispweaver Angel here, which is yet another flyer, a really strong one. There's also an Imbrawl Bruiser in here, which has great synergy in our deck. And other than that, nothing else really standing out to me. The Built to Last would be good. The Scavenger is playable, yet kind of unexciting. And Prakata Club Security, same sort of thing. But Whisper of Angel is really awesome. Are all of our creatures flyers? Except a Workshop Assistant? No, I guess the Trinketeer too. But man, this is great. I mean, having an army of almost pure flyers is really advantageous. Okay, so we've got a choice here. We have the Ambitious Aetherborn, which does help our artifact matters count, but I'm kind of looking at Subtle Strike, which is a great card. I think I like it more than Rush of Vitality. They're both really good. What I like about Rush of Vitality is it lets you race. If you're just straight up in a race with your opponent, that's going to make a big difference. Like, just draining for 3 or 4 could mean the difference between winning, a turn before your opponent. But Subtle Strike is just one of those cards that can get you a 2-for-1 at common, that for 2 mana, which once again goes on my rant about, I don't know, some formats, the power creep is real, like Renegade Freighter, Subtle Strike, being able to 2-for-1 for 2 mana at common, it can get a bit scary for an environment. Oh, wow. Okay, so animation module. Do we have anything that works with it? That's the real issue. Unfortunately, I don't think we do yet. I mean, it's still early. We could. I like the card. What am I passing that matters? Fortuitous Find would let us get back like a Puzzle Knot, Skiff, Assistant, Thopter, plus whatever bomb creatures. I've been meaning. It feels like Fortuitous Find is something I'm supposed to be playing or seeing more in this format, but I really haven't. Yeah, the problem with animation module is we don't have a lot of energy, so we can't even give ourselves more energy. We don't have a lot of +1/+1 counters. It's still early enough where I could find something, because it is cool when you can go off with it. But I may want like another Puzzle Knot. I'm going to take the module just because I think the effect is good if you can make it work. All right, so now we have Mechanic, Scrutiny. I think we probably want the Impeccable Timing. Although at this point, are we short on creatures? It says 6 creatures, but we have a Cogworker's Puzzle Knot, which is also a creature, and a Sky Skiff, which is sort of a creature too. So we have like 8 creatures. I mean, it's not terrible. I'm okay taking Impeccable Timing here. If I miss out on a Mechanic or a Herald of the Fair, it's not a huge deal. And timing is, I feel like, probably at its best when you're flying over top and you want to kill ground units. So there is that. It also can kill defensive flying units if you need to press the advantage here. Okay. So now I can take the Puzzle Knot. There's also a Night Market Lookout, which I've played against more than I figured I would. But I like the Puzzle Knot. It's something to do on turn 2. Gives you cantrips. Works with our deck. With the underhanded design especially. So, all right. I'm on board. So, our curve is looking good. Contraband, Kingpin. I'll take the Live Fast here. We don't have a ton of need for energy, but card advantage is good. It's more exciting than a second assistant, I think. Usually I don't play the first assistant. Okay, so we can take Built to Last. We can take the Prakata Club Security. I am getting a little bit concerned. We need more creatures. We just don't have enough. Built to Last is going to be good in our deck, but it's basically, are we going to be able to find enough creatures out of pack 3? Because we need to find, like, even if we include the Puzzle Knot and the Skiff, we're looking at 8, which means we're going to have to find about 7 creature cards out of 15 out of the next pack. So as much as I want this Built to Last, I think we got to take the Club Security just in case we don't have enough creatures. Okay, we can take the Knightsbridge Patrol. Not a terribly exciting card, but playable. Okay, I'm going to take Security number 2 over the Scavenger because 4 mana 3/4 is acceptable, just not exciting. That's a really late Pima Outrider, like absurdly late. Okay, I got the Rush of Vitality. I'm going to take that over the Pressure Point. I really like the life gain aspect of it. Okay, I get the Fortuitous Find back. Certainly playable. We have a couple bomby creatures I wouldn't mind bringing back, like Trinketeer and Wisp-Weaver Angel, even Snarethopter. All right, we'll let somebody have the Spectacle. Okay. So currently Animation Module is like a complete blank in our deck. But hey, we got a, wow, a Freighter and a Wisp-Weaver Angel. Yeah, this is probably a case where, well, I guess the only problem with taking Freighter is I really need more creatures to activate the Freighter. But it's just so good, I got to take it. It's one of those cards that just is too well costed to pass up. Despite the fact that there is a Wisp-Weaver Angel in here, which is bomb too, but and even Imbrawl Bruiser, which I'd play and certainly would be good in here. But Freighter, even though it doesn't fly, it's just so good. So we're gonna take it. Cards I'm kind of on the fence about in this deck already. Inspired Charge seems not that good when you don't have many creatures. Workshop Assistant is usually very unexciting. I mean, everything else seems okay. Animation Module is not going to work unless we find some +1/+1 counter stuff like immediately. So let's just take the Renegade Freighter and be happy enough about it because it's a great card. So now we have Impeccable Timing #2. We have a Ballista Charger. We're already two vehicles deep with a shortage of creatures, so I'm really not looking at Ballista Charger too hard. There's a Thriving Rats, which I don't really like all that much. I'd probably just take the second timing, and maybe we even end up wheeling the Thriving Rats. Rats gives us some Animation Module synergy, but I guess I'm okay if that doesn't work out. So why don't we just take the second timing? It's something you can do early and late, possibly. We'll give... A few people have been telling me I'm underrating this card, so why don't we give it a more fair shake in a deck like this? So we've got Fabrication Module, which actually does have synergy with our Animation Module, but is there anything we'd rather play? Yeah, I think the Operative is like much too good for our deck to pass up here. Operative is kind of exactly what we're looking for, seeing as it's a 2-drop that works well with all of our artifacts. And Death Touch on the ground is just going to be really good. So I think D-Hunt Operative gets the go-ahead with me. Unlicensed Disintegration is a pretty awesome removal spell, but I'm not willing to splash for it. So, all right, Operative. So now we can take a second Operative or a Bastion Mastodon. And there's Make Obsolete, which is good. Once again, we're still on the hunt for more creatures, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and take a second Operative. It's just going to be good for us. And like I said, we need some more creatures, so we can probably ditch these three. We did lose a couple artifacts by doing that. I still think we have more than enough, though. Well, I guess we could always use more, but... Well, actually, do we even have enough? Maybe we are running a little bit short. Puzzle Knot. The 2 Puzzle Knots, the Skiff, the Freighter. Trinketeer, which can generate, and then Snarethopter. Wow, we only have 6. For some reason, I thought we had more than that. All right, well, I'm still taking Operative over the Mastodon. Hoping to find some more artifacts. All right, here we're going to take the Maulfist Squad over the Eager Construct. This has like pseudo evasion because Menace is good, and Fragmentize is good too, but I think we're actually doing all right on removal, so Maulfist Squad is going to certainly get the go-ahead in our deck. Still a little bit creature light. So now we can take Fragmentize, we can take Whirler Maker. Whirler Maker is not a bad plan, and it still turns on our operatives. Like I said, it's a good late-game plan. It can give you chump blockers. I feel like it's a little bit late to hope to find a second self-assembler. I mean, if I was guaranteed to get another, because we haven't seen another assembler in all the previous packs. If there was one in there, I might try to get it, but I think we only have, 2 more packs to potentially see a self-assembler, a second one. So I think we're actually going to take Whirler Maker, which is a reasonable playable card. Like I said, it gives you something to do, and getting more flyers is certainly fine. So I don't need any of these cards. Probably just take a second Fortuitous Find. I'm not going to play the first one, but hate drafting out of the draft leagues is kind of pointless. So I guess we'll take second find. All aboard the Aradara Express. This pack doesn't have anything we really want. I guess we'll take Pressure Point. But like I said, more vehicles aren't what we want, and Perpetual Timepiece is kind of useless, I think. Okay. So there's Authority of the Consuls, another Puzzle Knot, a Live Fast. I'm not going to play Authority. I might play a second Puzzle Knot just to try and up our artifact count and its card advantage. Like, I'd probably just play Puzzle Knot over Live Fast in our deck because we don't have a ton of need for energy besides the Yeti Trailhawk. And artifacts do matter in our deck, so let's take the Puzzle Knot here. I mean, I could take the Monitor too, just get another creature, even if I can't use the ability. But you can have a low creature count if you have card advantage. So, alright, I guess I'll take the P-Foul now in case. Not being able to make it fly is kind of bad. Second Subtle Strike. I mean, that's a late Subtle Strike. Certainly good. Dromedary can block on the ground. Mind Rot is okay too. I just don't have space for it, I don't think. So we'll take the Dromedary here. Okay, getting the Harrier back is actually great. That's going to make the deck. All right, so we ended up with enough creatures, which is great news. Whatever, I'll take the Bandar now. I don't need to give them any more gifts. Okay, so we got some real cuts to make here. I'm going to get rid of the preview pane. Okay, so we didn't end up with any Fabricate cards, which is kind of crazy. Actually, that's not true. We got one. So let's figure out cuts here. I mean, I don't really want to main deck Dromedary. Actually, let's add it back. I like to have it all nice and pretty. For some reason, if you move it over here, it doesn't shift your whole deck. Don't ask me why. I don't understand myself. So I think we definitely can't afford to cut any more creatures. So I think we have a ton of 2-drops, though, which is sweet. So we can cut Live Fast because we have double Puzzle Knot. It's just not a ton of need for this. And yeah, it's just not a ton of need for it. So we have a lot more cuts to make. I'm probably okay with cutting the Rush of Vitality because we're creature light. And I'd probably rather just do the Subtle Strikes. To be honest, I'm probably going to end up cutting one of them too. Am I really playing a P-Foul as just a 4-mana 2/4? I'd prefer not to. But if I run 12 creatures, it's really like 13. 13 creatures is acceptable. I guess you can kind of count Whirler Maker. And I suppose the Freighter and the Skiff are like half creatures. So maybe, even if I cut the P-Foul, we might be okay on creatures. Hopefully these Puzzle Knots sort of draw us into what we need. I could get off the Whirler Maker plan and then probably cut Fortuitous Find too. I think Fortuitous Find might be good for this deck though, because we have a fairly healthy split of real and artifact creatures. Colored and artifact creatures, I should say. Our removal looks great. I probably don't do double Subtle Strike. If we have double Impeccable Timing, Underhanded Design, Extraction, Privileges, Conclusion, like we have a lot of premium removal, so we don't need double Subtle Strike. I already cut the P-Foul, but like I said, we kind of are still running 13, 14 creatures. If you count the Skiff and the Freighter as like half creatures. The problem is they require creatures to activate, which is a real problem, but I think we're just going to have to live with it. Maybe I cut the Whirler Maker. I still have quite a few cuts to make. 3 to be exact if I want to run 17 lands, which, I mean, maybe I don't have to because my curve is actually fairly low. But let's do an artifact count. That'll help me better gauge kind of where we're at for our Artifacts Matter cards, the Operatives, the Screecher. And I can count cards that generate artifacts as well. So, okay. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. I mean, 9 artifacts is certainly going to be acceptable for an artifact matters deck, but I probably shouldn't cut too many more. I'm still kind of on the fence with Whirler Maker in here, but it's difficult. And Fortuitous Find, I think, is actually good in here too. Maybe I just cut the Subtle Strike completely, focus on the Impeccable Timings, Revoke Privileges, Essence Extraction, Tidy Conclusion, Underhanded Design. Like, we still have, what, 6 removal spells that are good and don't require creatures. I mean, Subtle Strike doesn't require creatures, but I think I'd rather have Impeccable Timing in this deck than Subtle Strike. What I like about the timing is, like I said, we're flying over top most of the time. So if we're flying over top, Impeccable Timing can deal with those creatures on the ground. All right. I think we're losing the Subtle Strike completely, even though I really do like the card. I'm pretty tempted to just boot the Whirler Maker at this point, but I don't really want to cut an artifact. And Whirler Maker has done some work. It's also really good with the Trinketeer. That is pretty good, because it boosts your Thopters too. Yeah, I think we got to keep the Whirler Maker. So I really do have to come up with a cut here, and it can't be a creature. I'm pretty tempted to just maybe run 16 lands, though. Hopefully with the double Puzzle Knot, that doesn't affect us too much. It's just the vast majority of our curve is at 2 and 3 mana, and I'm already having a really hard time making a cut here. And I think the final cut's actually going to be like the Fortuitous Find. Even though I really do like the card in this deck in particular, I can't cut a creature. I've got 2 vehicles that I have to crew, and even including the Puzzle Knot, just being at like 13 we're already so low on creatures that it just seems too dangerous to cut anything else. So I think we're going to cut the Fortuitous Find. So 16 lands with this build. We do top out at a 1/6 drop, which is okay. 2 5 drops, but like I said, the vast majority of our deck is at 2 and 3 mana. So, all right. I think we're running it like this. I don't know how good this deck is. Like, our removal is premium. We have a lot of flyers, but we're a low creature count deck that basically is trying to take advantage as much as we can of our premium removal and flying over top to get there. So, and our low curve. So we have a low curve with premium removal and a lot of flyers, which all comes together and sounds good. But like I said, it really is contingent on how much is having the 13 creatures in our deck going to affect us. Even if you count Whirler Maker and the vehicles as half creatures, we're still a bit under where I like to be. Did I say underwear? Uh-oh. All right, we'll see you round 1, folks.